the Flying Nun. Well, she has decided to say that she's kind of sorry that she's white. Megyn Kelly comments on this, but first, the Flying Nun goes crazy.
I was a little white girl with a pug nose, born in Pasadena, California. And when I look around this room tonight, I know my fight, as hard as it was lightweight compared to some of yours. I thank you and I applaud you.
And instead of just saying, thanks a lot, I appreciate the honor, and sitting down, which would have been the perfect response, she's got to deprecate, maybe she's trying to be self-deprecating, but she's got to attack basically white women as not understanding oppression at all, because no white woman could ever grow up understanding what it's like to have a tough life. Okay, tell it to the people in Appalachia, all right? Tell it to those little white girls who right now are getting Diet Pepsi or Pepsi in their soda bottles. Read J.D. Vance's Hillbilly Elegy to find out how kids in that region grow up. It isn't pretty. It's a tough life, and there's a lot of drugs, and there's huge poverty, and they have no advantages, and they have nobody they can see who goes on to college. Those girls, your pain, your struggle doesn't count to Sally Field because you're too pale. You have a vagina. So, sorry, you can take your story walking. It's absurd. She's out there talking about people's skin color and looking at how diverse the room is, basically saying, I could never understand struggle. Mine was nothing compared to yours. How do you know? It's so diminishing to Black people. Like, you're Black, you're oppressed, obviously. Clearly, you must have come from the hood. That's racist. But she won't get called out on her ridiculous racism because it's totally in vogue to put down white people.
Well, also, we all know these people, and there's always somebody in our family or friends or even, God forbid, us at certain moments in time. Certainly me, not you. Which is okay. You always sort of want to remain young, you want to remain fresh. But then there are those people that clearly are like dressing 20 years on the wrong side of when they should be dressing. And I can't help but think that this is the political and the moral equivalent, which is just about trying to still be a 21-year-old. I'm still with it. I'm not one of those old squares, man. And, old mate Joe Biden is a perfect example of this. In the 90s, he's the hardest guy on gangs, but in 2023, diversity, equity, inclusion, as many Black people as possible. And then, as you pointed out on your radio show today, he's out there pretending to have been this forever champion of same-sex marriage when there's plenty of tape, but more importantly, votes in the Senate that says marriage man-woman.
I hadn't thought much about it, to tell you the truth, and I was a senior in high school, and my dad was dropping me off. I remember about to get out of the car, and I looked to my right, and two well-dressed men in suits kissed each other. I mean, they gave each other a kiss. And then one looked like he was heading to the DuPont building, and one looked like he headed to the Hercules Corporation building. And I'll never forget, I turned and looked at my dad. He said, Joey, it's simple. They love each other.
Okay. That never happened. That's a lie. Challenge. Nobody believes that. And even if it were true, what happened between 1961 and 2008 when he, every single time when asked, defined marriages between a man and a woman and opposed gay marriage? And actually, there's a quote from him in the 70s saying he didn't even believe that gays should serve in the government because he thought that they could be blackmailed. He thought that they would be compromised. So little Joey didn't quite get daddy's message if that incident really did happen, which it clearly didn't.
But also, just this slippery used car salesman thing, right? I always love politicians that pretend, I'm one of you, I'm part of the working class. In his case, the story was that he caught the train to and from Washington. So what? This is a guy who's only ever worked in the public service, who's got beach houses everywhere, millions here, millions there, but still gets to pretend, I'm the kid from Scranton, Pennsylvania, but I'm also the kid from Wilmington, Delaware, and I'm the kid from... And people just go, absolutely, but Trump, he's the awful, evil liar.
Mm-hmm. Even though Trump embraces the silver spoon that he was born with. Trump is out there in Iowa when he was running in 15, 16, giving people helicopter rides. He wasn't trying to hide his wealth. He talks like a man of the people. He's got a little bit of the New York accent. He swears a lot. He uses the P word to describe weak men. There's something, yes, jarring, but kind of appealing to a lot of people about that. So he owns his wealth, but he also owns that he's immersed himself in blue collar circles for many, many years now. He grew up in New York real estate. That's authentic. Joe Biden, this is an act. It just in that year that he did at the University of Pennsylvania, where he gave like 2 lectures where he was storing all his classified documents, they paid him like $1 million for a couple of lectures. If he ever was a man of the people, it's been a long, long time. And you need only look at his, yes, he claims to be moving to the middle. Okay. Look at his woke legislation, how he's trying to shove all of this wokeness and protect trans rights of children, of 4-year-olds and 9-year-olds as a matter of federal law to figure out whether Joe Biden's really a man of the middle.
Now, let's talk about Harry and Meghan. So they don't want to be working royals, but they want their kids to have royal titles, please.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's like she's such a grifter, right? She'll cash the check on Deal or No Deal and wear the fancy dress, but as soon as she gets famous, she'll bash them as having objectified her. She will take the tiara that the Queen offers her and walk down the aisle in it with her designer gown and having all the royals there. But as soon as she can, she bashes the royal family as racist. She will tell a national audience that the royal family's so bad, they knew she was going to kill herself and couldn't be bothered to help her. But as soon as she's able, she gives her children royal titles of prince and princess, which, by the way, is not universal. Princess Anne, Prince Edward, they both rejected the birthright of their children. Their children, too, could automatically be princes and princesses. Now that the uncle is monarch, they said, no, we're not doing that to them. And given their relationship with Queen Elizabeth, they said no. So this is not done by every royal, especially not ones who do absolutely nothing to help the royal family and make it their professional business to bash them. This is the act of a couple that understands their only currency is those titles. That's all they have to pay the bills and make themselves interesting. And it's also the reason why their approval ratings are through the floor. They went down even lower in America and in the UK over the past couple of months. She's lower than he is. Meghan's as low as they come. She's lower than Harry. But I wrote it down, just in the past month, let's see, he's gone down 37 points in the UK. She's gone down 31 points. They haven't even been doing anything for the most part the past few weeks with these numbers going down. He's underwater 22 points in the UK. She's underwater 33. It's the same or worse here in the United States. And calling your kid prince and princess ain't going to help.
You got to meet a really lovely Australian by Margot Robbie, of course, the star of many a movie, upcoming as Barbie. But she was in the movie that was, well, technically, but not 1,000% about your experience at Fox News.
Yeah, and I'm happy to say she was delightful. You never know how it's going to be with these Hollywood actresses. They know me, they know my political persuasion, and they tend to know how outspoken I am. So, there's a chance it could go poorly. All of them are on the left. So there's a chance. But I went and I introduced myself to her at this media convention we were at. And she spoke, and she's truly, I think, one of the only, if not the only celebrity I've actually taken the time to go introduce myself to. I'm not enamored with the Hollywood set, but I did admire how she played the role of this fictional character in the movie Bombshell. And I have had a lot of women come and talk to me about that movie and mention her moving performance in particular. And I felt it too, because in one of those scenes, she was portraying something close to what I myself had experienced. So it was great to shake her hand. She could not have been warmer. She was very funny, Paul. She saw me and she said, oh my God, she goes, it's the real Megyn Kelly. She goes, I'm used to seeing Charlize as Megyn Kelly. And I was thinking to myself, oh, crap, I wish I were taller. But in any event, I think I deserve credit for being willing to stand next to the luminous Margot Robbie for a photo that I then posted to Instagram. Kudos to me and my confidence, because ladies, as you can understand, it took a lot.
She's the best, isn't she? And I'm not talking about Margot Robbie. I'm talking about our dear friend Megyn Kelly, exclusive to Paul Murray Live each and every week.